Hello and welcome. This is Diana, and you are watching Holistic Vibes. This is going to be just a current energy check-in of what's been going on. And in all honesty, like you could quite possibly be feeling kind of like this angst that's coming up in the collective consciousness, and like a heavy heart. It's almost like I'm getting an energy that agrees with stuff that's taking place. Um, but your truth meter is kind of saying it's not fully the vibration of like love and understanding for like the community and for the people around you. It's kind of a little bit of a disheartening state that it even had to get to here, is what I'm getting. And so, like, as those things are kind of coming into the light, like, you have to give yourself, like, this space and this time to process, to understand, like, what was my lesson? How was I supposed to grow? What did I learn that I don't want to repeat in the next phase? Like, how could have, because here's the thing, is like the more and more that you kind of study history, the kind of that you are aware of like the soul's incarnation of like what it means, well, okay, what it means to house the frequency and the vibration of love, right? There are a multitude of ways to get to the Father's love, to get to the vibration of where you are, the vibration of God, right? Where you are the frequency, where you're aligned with God. And I say God, Jesus Christ, the one God, the true source, right? Because there are people out there that are saying God and they mean Baphomet. They're really obvious these days, right? Because that's part of the contract, the satanic contract that's being signed. So clarity in regards to the who, what, when, where, why, and the vibration of alignment is going to start becoming quite vivaciously like poignant. It's almost like there is no doubt that an individual walks in truth and is aligned with God. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that they have led a life of like majesty or a life of pristine. No, it's been murky. It's in order for you to get through to the light, you've got to trudge through the mud. You got to trudge through the crap of life so that you can not only help other individuals, but you're healing your DNA lineage through the release of those toxicities. And you're opening up to the heart's desires of like, what you want in this next phase, right? You could be seeing sacred geometry like in water droplets, or in flowers, or like in nature. They could just pop up next to like the trees. I guess that's confirmation. And the understanding of like what a divine unification within yourself feels like. It's almost like you're starting to be able to see the toxicity in other people and understand when they are actively operating out of their wounds of, oh, poor me, right? And that can be part of it, right? Because, I don't know, it's kind of going back to this whole, like, if you walk alone, like, then you know who has your back, right? You don't have to think, oh, is that person going to show up for me? And maybe this is something that you've been attested to, or that like life has continually showed you that like regardless of what's going on in your reality, like people suck, you know? And that's not true. It's just that you are still attracting lessons. And for some reason, you are in the root of the who you are, you're still holding on to some of those limiting beliefs, be it energetically, be it physically, right? The energetic body has to also be reset and realigned, right? It's kind of like going to a chiropractor and getting an adjustment, but you're going to, I have met a chiropractor that actually worked energy as he was resetting the body. So he was not only taking care of the physical frame, but he was also working with the etheric frame and also the mental body, right? He was doing all of the clearing at once. And that is a very cool sight to see. But that doesn't happen often. However, and maybe that's something that you've been playing with or trying to identify, like where your body is still holding on or trudging on to like old energy frequencies and like how it's holding you up. Um, Yeah, it's kind of like how it's been keeping you stuck in an old paradigm, in an old state of reality. And as you start releasing and identifying and letting go of, and maybe you did this during the new year, right? Maybe you did this with this last new year, the Chinese New Year that just came. I think it's well, it's any old um lineages understand what the true new year is, right? And why they got rid of an entire month, why they changed the calendar, how they're using the energy to harvest, manipulate. I don't know. There's something to that like maybe you've been diving into. Maybe you've been looking at like an honest assessment of what has been taking place behind the scenes, right? Because I'm a firm believer, like truth builds truth. And even though you don't necessarily like somebody or you don't resonate with somebody, doesn't mean that you're not identifying that they're not operating out of truth. It's like just because you don't like somebody or because something doesn't resonate with you does not mean that they are not operating out of their own truth and light, right? Um, I don't know. I just keep getting like there is going to be this heightened state through the collective consciousness where people are apparently today's a colorful kind of day. No longer going to be fitting the bill for bullshit. It's kind of like throughout the entire world, those that are the divine collective, those that are the chosen, those that are the ones that have been on the journey for like the last 9 years, those that are truly meant to bring in the rainbows that are here to transmute the collective consciousness. Like these individuals are stepping up in divine right, into their rightful places. And it's kind of like through this process of, they just said it's like drinking from the cup and never being thirsty. It's like once you understand that you are divinely protected and that your presence of like what you are meant to do on this planet has already been communicated through eons, through the book of life, you will start stepping into your divine pathway, right? And it's kind of like once you realize that some of the people out there that have been speaking of grid work or codes or geometric patterns or different body frequencies, right? Like some of these people are, or enlightenment. Like I never, for me, Russell Brand is just the perfect vision of what a satanic pedo looks like, right? And how they attempt to be controlled opposition, setting this different narrative. Or Kat Von D, right? That's another one, total Satanist. So much so that she had a blood bath pool. I mean, it's there, it's in your face. But the thing is there are going to be people that for some reason, for whatever reason, your intuition goes, I don't resonate with them, right? Because you can feel the back end contract that they've done to claim their fame or their manipulation in the collective consciousness, right? There's something in regards to what's happening in the sun Pluto, I think, is wrapping up. I think it's been in retro, if I'm not mistaken. Um, yeah, something with that is driving the physical force of like whatever has been keeping divine unions or divine soulmates or higher, because you have to think too, like when you come together with another core resident soul, right? When another soul meets another soul, right? Because there are people out there that are soulless. You have to have a soul. You have to be a non in vitro baby, a non created by man baby. And when you do this, it's the DNA syncs up and it creates this activated portal and it allows this higher being to come into being, right? And whether or not that's like the thread of like Charles Xavier, where all of a sudden you are fully engulfed within the collective consciousness where you can see who is soul family and who is not soul family. I remember the first time that I saw everyone with wings, and the power behind that of feeling like connected to soul, connected to family, right? Understanding that the path we are all walking on is our own within our physical form, right? But our etheric form is also waging war in the spiritual realm. And there is this understanding through whatever meditation, through maybe you have a copper pyramid that you've been working with, right? Like however you have been clearing out your own energy and reconnecting in with your divinity, with your divine source, it's activating this trust that like the divine is catching you, that like everything that you need is going to be provided for. The gateways that you have always envisioned are going to essentially be hologrammed and hologrammed in your reality, right? We are in a hologram. We are in a environment, in a reality that you actually create as you're moving about the world. And think of it as simplistic as this, right? When you wake up in the morning and you listen to affirmations or you listen to like positive things that are taking place in your reality and you don't allow any impediments from the outside or negativity to come into your day, and you hold the vibration and the frequency of it is done, God is working for me, everything is aligning, I know and I have full faith and trust that everything is aligning in my favor, because God would not have given me the vision if it was not my truth, right? And if you lean into that throughout your day, what you're going to realize, you hold your frequency like so much more. And like they're in the process of trying to understand like how your frequency is shifting the reality, but let alone how it is being projected out into the matrix, and how your happiness is then amplified and reconnected to where all of these people are also being affected by your light. So then all of a sudden they're going in there. They don't know why they're happy. They don't know why they're joyous. They don't know what it is, because as far as they're concerned, their life sucks, right? They're in a crap job, in a bad relationship, having people who are like letting them down or not supporting them, right? They're in this alone, or whatever negativity that they're kind of like emanating out of. And like it's also the shift of that, like don't wear glasses when you're out and about. Like work on it to where you can be like completely eye exposed out in reality, because you are not actively waking up the collective consciousness, planting the seed of awakening in those that need it. If your eyes are completely behind a blanketed wall, it's part of the reason why they push things so drastically and say it's for your health, right? If you believe you are divinely protected, then so mote be. Nothing and no one can impede your space, right? Your physical form will not be attacked by anything attempting to cause you harm. If you name it and claim it and activate it, it so is, right? And so like maybe you're going to start going to sacred sites. Maybe you're going to start going to geometric areas, right? For me, God, what was it like almost 8 years ago. I think it was 2018 or 2019. I went to like 9 countries, and God had me like lay kyanite all over the place, like all over the place, and said, hey, it is going to help transmute this area. And I was like, all right, cool. And there were other places I was supposed to go, but obviously we live in a 3D reality. So until the financial backing comes, we don't go help shift. However, I would like anybody who does want to do grid work or wants to do meditation, clearing of particular thought forms, right, or energies, and running them through the grid. And I really want to do some grid healing work. Vesta could be also, again, hearth and home. It's all about like the foundational experience of like what love means to you. I just realized that Juno and the union are together. And so maybe you're understanding the fractals of like the reality of what it means to be at peace with divine nature, to understand that the earth also has to go through the emotional reverence of like love and loss, right? And separation and going through disconnection and then coming back into self, right? Being in a state of flourishing, being in a state of abundance. And here's the thing too, is like if you are not financially abundant, um, understand that like the delays are to teach you more lessons. It's like it can be quite frustrating when you have a vision and you're like, cool, I want to do that. I want to be on stage. Let's go. I want to be inspirational to a multitude of people. Let's go. And then there's zero movement, right? Nothing is happening within your favor, because the thing is your heart chakra and your throat chakra have to align. Like those, if there are no planes in the air, like then travel is going to be very difficult. And so it's like praying and asking the divine and saying, not by your will, not by my will, Lord, but by yours, thine be done. Right? And as you submit and you start to surrender, and surrender is going to be a tricky bitch, because the thing is you can think you're surrendering, and I'll tell you what, you have to go another 40% more. And it's that total succumb to allowing the divine to move within your life, to say, I know that I'm holding my vibration at a high enough frequency that those that are aligned to me will step forward. And what you're going to notice is your environment is going to start shifting. The people are going to start changing. Like you are going to attract low vibrational people, because the thing is God allows you to see what those people are wounded with, because that's where you started. And in order for you to help pick them up, you have to give them the keys that they need to understand how you got out of it, right? And it's kind of like living by that whole no man left stand. What is it? No man left standing? No. No man left behind? Possibly. Something like that, right? If you know, you know. You can always like let me know. Um, it's literally holding the door for them, to allow them to go through their own trials and tribulations, to understand that they are their own divine spark, right? And no two people are going to go into seclusion the same way, go on their own walkabout journey, connect to their own divinity. Every single person. And I mean, and it's kind of weird because this came up in my meditations. And to your own divine self mastery, out of your own bondage, right? In toxicity and lower vibrational energies. Like you have to take your own blindfold off. You have to say, you know what, God, no more. I'm not going to be attacked in my sleep any longer. I'm not going to allow anybody to impede my dreams. I refuse to allow anybody to impede me in the astral realm, because I am the spiritual hierarchy. And I refuse to continue on this pathway. I step into my power. I step into my divinity. I step into my grace. It's kind of like when the cherubim truly realize that they are the tactical military warriors for God, the game changes. because what they're doing to impede the etheric realm and to impede the dream state literally goes bye-bye instantaneously when the cherubim come into their power. And don't get me wrong, like there are other angelic beings that are also just as powerful, but they're specifically telling me that the cherubim need to awaken in their astral projection. Like you have to get to where your astral is so tight that you are essentially having a uh inception moment. Right? Does that make sense? It's sorry, I had to change the view because I realized that there's cards there that are not being seen. But that's also something like in Inception, the builder could essentially activate and put in a building or flip it upside down or add a pathway, right? Or give somebody another out. And maybe that's something that you are trying to understand, muster up. It's kind of like pattern recognition of the phoenix. Understanding that the phoenix is not frozen, the phoenix is engulfed in a blue flame, right? A blue flame is hotter than a red flame. And so through your own contemplation, you're going to understand the offers that are from the devil, that are offers that are essentially made to get you off of path. And I'm talking to people who are in transition or are in the process of releasing the tail end of their old. And it's like having the confidence. They're showing me with this card, and I don't know why they always do that, is like a Treu, like walking through the pathway with the two statues on both sides, right? And it would kill you if you weren't operating out of truth. Um, And it's somebody too, like for anybody who is romantically looking for like their twin or their divine counterpart to bring in this rainbow, understand that you guys have always been tethered in the etheric realm. And it's not the silver cord, but it's the other cord. And they're showing me it's kind of like it's got like a halo of violet to it. Um, and yeah, so you need to get outside. Solar flares could be quite relevant for you. Um, I'm going to read these guys. So solar flares are a tipping point before a loss of stability. Flares are characterized by emotions with a lot of sudden energy. They release unexpectedly large amount of energy that was previously withheld. Oh, it's kind of like somebody. Yeah, this is the integration of the masculine and feminine, which is up here, right? And so, like, as you're coming into alignment, you're then opening up the gateway for the counterpart to also be awoken. For those of you that are either with a partner that is asleep or you have yet to be with your partner, or you met your partner and you believe that there is some kind of energetic tie, if you continue to do your own integral work and you are staying true to your own divine path and you are in your heart center, what happens is you drag their asses along. So knowingly, unknowingly, their asses will wake up. It's just the law. And so keep being in your heart center, keep sending love and light, and do not say a specific person's name. Instead, reintegrate whoever is God's divine selection, right? For those of you that are not married, if you are married, obviously you say your partner's name. And then ask ask God how to mm, help enlighten your next path so that you can help your partner evolve to your guys' highest timeline, right? Because again, it's either this or something better. And it's unfolding, right? Whatever is like a wormhole is the unfolding of time. Entering into a wormhole is a powerful shortcut. It can essentially accelerate as the speed of light. It says it's far quicker than the time it would take us to do something conventionally. A wormhole is a portal itself and is the only way to travel faster than the speed of light. Just like a board game where the dice can prompt you to move to a later square without needing to make any steps, the wormhole changes the perception of time and leads us directly to the goal. Enjoy this shortcut in time that can quickly bring a paradigm shift, right? And that's the thing is like, as people are starting to transition in a paradigm, you are going to meet soul family that is in your vicinity that, because they were still operating out of a lower frequency, out of a lower paradigm frame of mind, not grasping quantum entanglement, quantum physics, like understanding like all the different delineations of like self-discovery. And when you hold the vibration of your frequency of speaking your truth into existence, right? Holding the line, right? You're not allowing anything lower to get into your field. Regardless, you are naming it, you are claiming it, you are commanding it. And like through this acknowledgement, you essentially dissolve all things that have been binding you and you step into the self-mastery. And some of you may be called to like start writing your drawing like sacred geometry, or you may have already started to play with like doodles. They just keep showing me doodles. So power of prayer, medium's toolbox, power of empathy, and the etherical awareness. Is that balancing of scales, right? Like once you realize that there is stuff that has been happening, and for me, I've only been on this planet, 47 years. So from the very beginning, I knew of etheric impediments, right? My dad used to tell me, I was like 2, that we were going to be in a spiritual warfare, right? And it was going to be in the ethers. So maybe this is a reality that you're starting to understand, or that you've started to see or experience. Yeah, so for those of you that have had money blocks in your heart center, um, it was kind of again, it was that void of like getting to a place of surrender. Like how are you it's I'm how are you in a state of positivity? How are you in the face of somebody else being negative? Are you going and living with them in the lower vibration, or are you pulling them up and switching the subject? And it's walking away, changing the frequency. It's one day at a time. Understanding everybody has their own journey, right? Everybody is not going to learn the way you're going to learn. Not everybody is going to gain the clarity that you're going to gain. It's showing kindness in the vibration of frustration, right? The leaning into your own inner knowing, trusting your own divine guidance, right? And I'm not going to tell you, like, sometimes your guidance and your discernment is going to be off, because the thing is when we place our own judgments on the what we want, so help me God, we are going to push for that thing to pop out of the cards, right? We are going to push that everything that we want shows up in a reading. And we're only taking the things that resonate with us, right? And we're forcing that square peg into that round hole, whether you want it or not. and gone are those days, because the more in alignment with self, the more understanding that like nothing can attach to you, that you are in the frequency you want, identifying in your creative space when something does come into your space, and kicking it out, right? And claiming your own divinity, claiming your own sovereignty, stepping into the angelic realms. For those of you with wings, like stepping into that frequency where you are aligned with God's word, with God's pathway for you. You're only going to know that, right? And you could be seeing 222, 2233, 8, 10, 10, and 929. They just said like be diligent in the way that you are promoting your kindness. Continue to start like feeding your own well-being. How are you being eased for yourself, right? How are you being aligned with yourself? Um, being in that state of reflectiveness. And again, if it's no longer serving you, if the person is no longer resonating with the who you are, like then cut them off. Like it is what it is. No harm, no foul, right? If they can't be on a high enough vibration, if you feel like, oh, this isn't funny, this person's just being super low vibrational, right? Or, oh, this person, I'm tired of hearing them complain continuously, then like cut it off. You have the divinity to close your control and close your own state of being. You don't have to do it just for the sake of doing it, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's work. Like you control your environment, because in the end, this journey is you with you. And you should not have to apologize for what you need as a soul having a human experience, right? It's entirely up to you. God gave it to you. I'm going to get one of these. I got Melchizedek at the bottom. I think that was Ganesh. Oh, Holy Spirit. Oh, it was Ganesh. So Holy Spirit, expect miracles. Lord Ganesh, infinite abundance, right? So you very well may not see the financial abundance, or you may not think it's there, but then God's going to create a role to like put you in a higher frame of being because you asked for a particular amount of financial abundance, or you are looking. They're so funny. They said to open something. And me and a friend actually talked about him opening up a studio. So maybe you're listening and it's coming. Um, it's, they're just saying it's like if you've put it into the ethers and you've truly asked and you have hit your knees and you prayed with an open heart in an open state of consciousness. It's kind of like for those of you that have gived and gived and gived and have yet to see your abundance come to you, or not seen it reciprocated, right? Because what happens is a lot of givers will meet a lot of takers. And it's so that you understand your own divine boundaries, right? You have to understand that you are a divine being having a human experience. And at a certain point you got to go, that's your shit, that's not my shit, and I'm not dealing with it. I refuse, you know. They're showing me also another thing, like if you're going out of your way, um like 3 hours, right? And then you go to your family's house and then you're expected to like clean the house, right? And you're like, what the fuck? I just got done working a 50-hour day. I just drove 3 hours and I'm here cleaning your house. Like, this is ridiculous, right? And so it's kind of like laying those steep boundaries of like, this is what I'm willing to do and this is what I'm not willing to do. And I will no longer compromise the who I am to facilitate something for someone else, right? It's like you actively choosing your highest timeline. And like, so on a piece of paper, because I think the full moon's coming up next week, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it's this week even. I can't remember. Uh, Write out like what your true heart's desires are. Like put it in a manifestation and allow yourself to feel Like that elation of how it would feel if that everything lined up and it all fell into place. How would you feel in that moment of gratitude, right? And hold on to that vibration in the morning, hold into that vibration at night, see it coming into being, and then give way, not with controlled asking, right? It's surrendered asking. It's releasing asking. I'm going to leave that there. If something in this happened to resonate with you, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you would like a reading or a healing, I am open for both. And until next time, be well. Ciao.